This is a presentation of the School of Criminal Justice and Law Enforcement at California Southern University.
Next question, and this is more for an internal question and a critical question. What is the importance of organizational succession planning, which includes promotions and career development? Chief Quesada?
Well, I actually live this, so I know how important it is. About 4 years ago, we lost a deputy chief, a chief, 3 captains, 6 lieutenants, and 16 sergeants. It was just a mass exodus. I took over as the chief of police. I've got 6 captains, 4 were on probation, 1 was just off probation, so I lived through this. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of succession planning and development. I recently promoted, actually yesterday, 5 sergeants, a captain, and a lieutenant. So encouraging folks at the early level to start thinking and planning at that next level. So my commitment to the sergeants, and again, I went through that rank, is make your decisions at that next level, because it's going to be an easier transition. As a chief, I have to have the opportunities and the training available for them to succeed as well. I can't just say, hey, I want you to do well. I have to provide the opportunities and the training for them to be successful. But it doesn't just start there internally. It starts all the way down to the elementary school kids who are getting prepared down the road. In Anaheim, we have a career pipeline program. It's aimed at junior high school. Next year, we'll start at the high school level. Once a week, the kids, the 7th and 8th graders, have an elective period where it's public safety. So they get 1 week, it's public fire. The following week, it's police officer. The goal is to educate them about our careers and also tell them basically about their backgrounds, what is required, so we start at an early age. The goal is to now, again, next year, to keep them at the high school, keep them entertained. Once they're in high school, we recruit them into the Explorer program. After the Explorer program, we grab them into cadets, traffic control assistants, and then eventually police academy. So again, it starts internally, but we're starting to look down the road and starting at the very, very early level. And then the added benefit of that is they are from the community. So we have folks from the community who can become police officers in the city of Anaheim.
Yeah, and succession planning for me in Santa Ana was probably the highlight when we went into the economic downturn where Santa Ana was on the verge of bankruptcy. And so at one point in the city of Santa Ana, I was the acting police chief, I was the city manager. And so that tells you that the city of Santa Ana did not do very good succession planning over the years. And I remember sitting in the city manager's office and signing off on a lawsuit, and 3 of the signatures were mine, and 1 was the city attorney's signature. And I had signed as the deputy chief, as the acting chief, and as the city manager. And so I thought, this is absolutely crazy. And then I look back on the department. I don't have the staff and the management staff that Chief Quesada has in his city. We're very light in terms of management. But what you have to do is really take a good look at what your environment looks like and deal with the realities that you have, whether they're fiscal realities or the human resource realities. And then really plan out, how do we push those people below us forward and get them those skills that they're going to need to be successful in the higher ranks. And right now I realize that myself and my 3 deputy chiefs are all eligible to retire around the same time frame. So it's real critical for us to acknowledge that. We may not all go at the same time, but acknowledge that and make sure that we prepare those below us for that next step. You know, we want to be a more vibrant and successful police department as we move forward. Thank you.
We're all in the same boat, I think. Of the 61 lieutenants we have in the Sheriff's Department, 45 of them have 2 years or less in rank. And that's true with the sergeants and also our other line staff, patrol operations. I'm looking a little different. It does create an opportunity rather than a challenge. When we look at the way we're perceived in this profession, you're almost getting a brand new start in how we can move our organizations forward. And that's driven by several factors. Obviously, we have a succession planning, succession development initiative in the Sheriff's Department, all about developing people, getting ready for the next level that they're going to move on, and the one beyond that, try to get them to take additional opportunities. But it's also focused towards retention of the people we have. It's very expensive to get people into a uniform and a badge. It costs us in the Sheriff's Department about $120,000 per successful candidate to get them in a uniform. And if we have to repeat that every year, To get somebody 3 years could cost us $240,000. That's an exponential equation. So then the question changes with the demographics we're hiring from, primarily the millennials who have a tendency to get to hop from job to job. If you don't engage them, cultivate them, value them, they will leave. They will, without hesitation, go somewhere else to be in that environment where they're valued. So we're taking a different look at the demographics we're bringing in, learning how to attract them in. We're competing with the private sector now as the economy's turned around, so the pool of interested participants or candidates is waning. Everything that Raul had mentioned about engaging the community and growing police officers from a very young age is becoming very challenging. Marijuana is becoming main place, a modern challenge for us. And so when we're looking at what we want to do, what we're trying to attract and what we're trying to grow, we've got to start very young, bring them in, and then focus on retaining them more importantly.
My organization is no differently situated. What our obligation has had to be is to look at our organization structure a bit differently and look at different means of getting the most out of folks by moving them around more frequently. Meaning that what we've had to do is question some basic assumptions. Typically, we look at and we say, well, you need to be a journeyman police officer, meaning you have to have 8-9 years on patrol. Then you go to detective, and then you're there for 3 to 5 years working all of the different desks. And we've typically had to rethink that and retool that. And instead of looking for the expertise, go for the experience. And that means building a depth of bench. It's all wonderful to have a primary team that's great, that's out there, that's doing it. But if you don't have that depth of bench, when someone's hurt, when situations change, when retirements come about with 3% at 50 and all of those kinds of things, you end up in behind the 8 ball. So we've had to retool our thinking, move people around more frequently, be very authentic about that so that we can build that. But equally, we have to create opportunities for groups that are typically left on the margins. In our organization, our civilians were exactly that group. For many, many years, there was not an ability for them to even be looked at as legitimate managerial personnel. And we've made statements and we've made actions and we've created a new structure that gives them not this so-called parity, but actual parity in terms of appearance, relative pay, and opportunity, accountability, and responsibility. So in that, you build a sense of cohesion within the unit. People want to move. They want to get the different experiences. They want the different opportunities. And we can't take that standpoint that says that this is a police department, so therefore the executive staff table is limited to police officers and people who are sworn. So we have to take a look differently at how we've operated our organizations, how we've marketed promotions and opportunities and the experiences, and make sure that we're doing it in a way that internally makes people want to do things. And then as people from outside look in, they see the opportunities, because the young people coming in today want something different. And if the organization isn't responsive to them in that way because we're stuck in an old mind map, guaranteed they'll look to some other agency or to the private industry to do that. And we've had to take that on, and it's not been easy, but we're making some success.
Thank you.
So I want to approach this question more on a micro level. So when I think about this question, it makes me think about a book that in the past was standard reading for anyone that went through the Supervisory Leadership Institute, which is a flagship leadership program for first-line supervisors. And the book was called Managing for Excellence by David Bradford. And the underlying principle of that book was that in order to best mentor, best prepare your people for future opportunities and greater responsibility, is to have them and enable them to share in the management of the unit. So that's really, I think, at the heart of true mentoring. It takes a lot of extra work, but it's something that we have to remember to do as law enforcement leaders. So if, for instance, I'm listening to a lieutenant or a sergeant analyze a problem or discuss how to go about solving an issue, and in my estimation, maybe they're not quite considering all the things they should be considering, I need to look at myself and think about, well, what more can I do, or what more can that person's supervisor do? And the model is that you have to make the effort to fold in supervisors and lieutenants into the next level of decision making and have them be part of those conversations about how to brainstorm and how to tackle sometimes high level issues, training, of course, is important, and we've talked about training. It's very important. But where I've seen the best, the most impactful way to actually have people in organizations prepare themselves for the next level is one-on-one mentoring, where they're actually included in higher level decision making than what would be for their particular rank. And that's I can speak for myself with Chief Maggart, who had the opportunity to mentor me for many years. And towards the end, I began to see him fold me more and more into the loop of the issues he dealt with. And I think that's one of the best ways to prepare our people for more responsibility and ensure that as time goes on, that we're going to have leaders who are competent and can best serve our communities.
So we're a little bit in a different situation in Tustin. We're a little long in the tooth. Most of my management staff have been there for 25 or 30 years. But in the next 5 years, we're going to be in a similar situation that some of the chiefs have talked about, where people are going to leave. So we do have a succession plan in place. What I think is important, and I think Chief Seabrooks touched on it, is making it truly fair and truly make that opportunity available to everyone that is interested in that. And I think in the past, we haven't been so good with that. You'll hear from employees, even to this day, they talk about, the good old boy club, cronyism, you only take care of your favorites. And we really have to be mindful of that. And what I would like to see in our department is a formal mentoring program, where people who are interested in special assignments or promotions can opt into that program, and we have plenty of valuable, talented mentors that can mentor them through the process and provide the training and provide them with the leadership materials they need to prepare them for that next level. That way you level the playing field, and everyone has an equal shot at taking the next level. And then for us in Tustin, going back to what Chief Kazawa said, we've had a farm system in place for a long time. And we start at the explorer level, and we go up through cadet and full-time employee. In fact, there's a young man sitting in the audience here who started as an explorer, and he's now one of our best cadets, and he wants to be a police officer with our department. And that's worth its weight in gold. I cannot emphasize enough. We struggle for lateral police officers all the time, and sometimes you can get a great lateral, and sometimes you can get not such a great lateral. And so to be able to build that from within your own department, especially someone that grew up in the community, is tremendous. It's a tremendous asset. And so, putting more resources towards that is something, it's one of my goals. It's right on time.
Thank you. As mentioned before, during our leadership team meetings, and that involves first-line supervision, both professional and sworn, all the way up to the top. Another standing item besides the community policing problem-solving part is our mentoring succession planning. That's part of our strategic plan. That started from the ground up as far as obviously our pride of the broad vision, and then from our line staff, including the community, built our strategic plan that includes the succession planning. We involved mentors that probably every agency here does from the time we have a recruit entering the academy. They stay with that recruit through the FTO program, and then we also have a formalized mentor for newly promoted sergeants as they go through the first year. Besides all the post-training that is available as far as the advancement and career opportunities, we also do an in-house, I think it's 40-hour class for sergeants also to better prepare them for the new position. The expectation is that every sergeant, that as soon as we can, we get them into the Supervisory Leadership Institute training. As all of you know, those who've gone through that SLI training, it's a lot of work. The expectation for lieutenants is that they go through Command College or the FBI National Academy as soon as we can, preparing them again for the next level. Like most of us here probably, I do not micromanage. At every opportunity within units and divisions, a lot of discretion, a lot of flexibility to run their shops and make those major decisions. So again, it's a lot of the in-service, a lot of the mentoring in-house, and providing individuals with the opportunity as much as possible to rotate between the investigative side, the administrative side. Obviously, the more well-rounded they are, the better opportunity in the future for promotion.
So this issue of succession planning in organizations, I think it's really one of community concern as well. And the reason I say that is because the communities that you live in, you have a stake in the policing in that community, obviously. In the community that I live, I know over the course of the last several years, some of the great things that this police department has done have just been very phenomenal. The relationships with the community and the police have come together. Just so many great things going on. And my worry as a resident of that community is, are the people below this chief, do they have a good understanding of why he's doing what he's doing? And are they going to be able to move forward these same practices, or are they going to step back to a traditional approach to policing? So that's why it's one of, I think, a community concern as well. One of the challenges that I'm seeing, and this is my fourth police department, is that people in the organizations tend to think today. They don't think about what's going to happen in 5 years, 10, 15, or 20 years. So their interest in promoting now is really, I'm not interested. And if they're not interested now, they're going to keep working within positions that are comfortable for them, like narcotics or traffic or gangs. And they don't want to work an administrative assignment, which is what we do 100% of our time, is administrative. So they're putting themselves in a position of disadvantages because they're thinking only today of what interests them. So we need to find ways to get them thinking, way ahead, whether it be education, whether it be training, whether it be administrative assignments, whatever it might be. We need to find a way to have our teams really focusing more on the future to really be a great part of that succession going forward.
Okay, so I think we all learn from our history and our experiences. And so when I became the newly appointed police chief back in 2010, within 60 days, just like Chief Rojas, I was told that I was going to be the city manager and also the redevelopment director during the abolishment of redevelopment. In addition, I was told that the public works director was retiring in 30 days, the community development director was retiring in 30 days, the assistant city manager had just taken another job, and I looked left and I looked right and I was holding the bag. And that year was an extremely challenging year. I learned tremendously, but I also wanted to take that experience and learn from that experience on succession planning. And so there's just 4 points I'll give you that I truly believe in. And succession planning starts at recruitment. Recruiting people who are a good fit with your community is extremely important because you are a portion of that community. Empowering all employees, I think we develop, I believe in developing a training matrix that defines the requirements for each position and gives all employees a path to success. It's up to them to take advantage of. It's about mentoring all employees, and you've heard the chiefs here talk about this. It's about sharing experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and shadowing. I think I've had great mentors who have given me that ability, and I've learned tremendously and have had the ability to do this job, I think, a little bit better just because of those experiences. And finally, creating a consensus culture, allowing all leaders in your organization, because you have leaders throughout your organization, to have a voice in the direction of the organization. And while you may be the chief, and at the end of the day, the buck stops with you, I think if you truly believe in a community policing environment, you allow for those individuals below you to have a voice.
Very good. This is going to be, Laura, would you like to make a couple comments on this one real quick? I'm picking the chief from Laguna Beach because she's sitting right in front of me. Do you have any brief comments you'd like to make?
Just to expound on what they said, is that just regarding community policing and connecting with your community, it doesn't just happen once. It's a continuous and ongoing process. And just because you go to one community meeting doesn't mean you don't go to the next one and the next one, and it evolves. You might have a voice with one portion or facet of your community, but you still need to speak to the other side, and sometimes you need to start that conversation, not them asking you. So not everybody has the same personalities that we do that say, come meet with us, we want you to come join our group. We need to reach out to those groups and say, we're here, we'd like to come see you. So I think we don't always do it right, and we are evolving, and we need to look to the future to have new ways of connecting with our community and doing it right. And as far as succession planning, we definitely need to start at recruitment and finding the right fit for our communities, because they're very unique. My community is nowhere going to be the community that there is in Anaheim, and we need to recruit and maintain those officers throughout the organization that will embody what our community asks of us.
Great, thank you. And the flavor that I heard from everybody is education, mentoring, coaching, and teaching. That's what I heard, and I believe, and we heard that in racial profiling as well. So here's a chance I'm going to give a plug of my university. Our master degree talks about all of these areas in our master degree. The degree is not just a cookie cutter one. Everything you've heard so far that the chiefs have all said, we have in classes, because I do believe you have to teach that, you have to mentor that. And the word mentor, we call our instructors at Cal Southern, we don't call them instructors, we call them mentors, because they're mentoring students and helping with that. So at this time, I'm going to forego the body cam question, because I think I'm going to throw the body cam question on the table. We'll be here till this afternoon, because it's rather sensitive. And since the the law didn't pass, we have no reprieve for a day. I was told Jackie it didn't pass. Oh, okay. So with that, please give the executive panel a hand.
This has been a presentation of the School of Criminal Justice and Law Enforcement at California Southern University.